Alrighty, so today what we're going to have a chat about is essentially the shoulder. Alright, so when people talk about the shoulder, and this can lead to like things like back pain, issues in and around the shoulder level, and it's become more and more common sort of nowadays simply because we do sit a lot more. We do sit in this quote unquote more rounded position, which can lead to a lot of almost weakness in certain areas and overload or overuse in other areas, which is what leads to this lack of function, this lack of ability to get overhead, right? This is the position that we tend to get issues arise in because it's the position that a lot of people want to use and get into that they just can't access. So what we're going to do today is we're going to chat a bit of a framework. So I'm going to give you some background on the shoulder and the movements that are involved in that. Then I'm going to give you some framework around the three areas that we want to sort of focus on. We like here at Altum, we see three areas that like key areas to shoulder function. And if you can improve that, you will remove yourself from pain and improve your ability to get overhead and then use the shoulder better. And then from there, it's like just a simple framework of like things you can look at to sort of implement in your either day-to-day routine, pre-gym, during gym, that sort of stuff. Like we're a big proponent of, and the way we look at things, it's like change and then integrate. I think the integration bit is the piece that a lot of people miss. They do the change things, rehab, prehab, those sorts of things, but then they don't integrate it. And one of the things we know is the body really wants to be familiar with the things that they do. So if we're trying to change things and they're not integrating it through loading and movement patterns, it's just going to go back to what it knows, and what it knows is a position that causes pain. Okay? So that integration piece is sort of really, really big. And it's a thing we focus on. So we want to elicit change and then integrate it into day to day. So without further ado, let's chat about the shoulder. So the shoulder, it's a very mobile joint. The way it's set up, it's a bit like a golf ball on a tee. So, you know, you got your top of your arm that inserts into the joint, which is called the humerus, and then you've got the glenoid fossa, which is what the joint where the humerus goes into, essentially, right? So humerus, imagine this is my upper arm, and this is the joint, and it sits like this. So very mobile joint, can move a lot. And that can also be a leading cause of the issues because it can move a lot and we want to do positions. When we do have restrictions around it, we can force it into that position, right? Which we may not see straight away pain, but over time we will, okay? So on that, that's not the only structure that matters in this position. We focus on the shoulder all the time. One of my favorite quotes is victim scream. So the thing that's screaming at you, i.e. the pain, which is coming in the shoulder, doesn't always mean that that's the issue, okay? So around the shoulder, we've actually what we call, there's 4 doors to shoulder movement. So in order to move it around, there's 4 doors that need to sort of work together and open up to allow for full shoulder movement. So first one, because we always go inside, outside. So we want to go closest to the spine, furthest away from the spine. Think fingers are furthest away, our shoulders are closest, but our spine and then shoulder blade are the next up. Cool? So they're the first 2 we want to focus on. So with the spine, you've got this mid to upper back region here called the thoracic spine. Thoracic spine is designed to extend and flex. A lot of people get confused because they're like, oh no, the spine, we don't want to move the spine because that's how I hurt my back. Yes, the lower back is meant to be very stable. Thoracic spine meant to move a lot. Cool? So we want to have adequate movement through that mid to upper back area, okay? So first and foremost, if you don't have movement through there, fix that. That will unlock a lot of the shoulder issues. Where this, if we look at day-to-day life, we sit like this. We sit in this rounded position, right? In order to get overhead, I don't want to be rounded, I actually want to be able to extend and get here, not from the lower back region, but from that upper back region. Cool. So if I'm fully flexed and then I try to go here, I can get there, but I'm going to force it into a position which can cause pain, okay? So looking at thoracic and opening that area up. If you have adequate mobility of that, awesome, cool. Move on to the next one. The next one is our shoulder blade, the bad boy here. So with the shoulder blade, the thing that's probably stuffed a lot of people up is this whole idea of like posture, like sitting up. Cool? Pulls it back a lot. We don't want to be like both ends of the spectrum hurt. We don't want to be fully rounded, where we get the shoulder blade up and around, and we don't want to be fully pulled back where we're not saying hello boys and sticking out, okay? So the shoulder blade is designed to go around the rib cage up and down, right? If we're stuck at either end, it's going to cause issues, right? We want it to be able to move. So, for example, if we sit at a desk all day, or we're in this position, we're going to get fully lengthened of the back muscles and shortening of the front muscles. Cool. Which is going to mean essentially our back muscles around the shoulder blade are going to be weak, and the ones here in the front are going to be really tight. Again, trying to get into this overhead position is going to be an issue. So you want to make sure you've got adequate mobility and be able to move the shoulder blade so we can reposition it. Cool. Third and fourth things are internal, external rotation of shoulder blade. Shoulder, not shoulder blade. Adequate movement of the shoulder. Cool. We want to be able to move it. Again, most of the things we see is generally like we don't have that movement because we're stuck here. So like I just get stuck, right? So like unlocking a lot of the thoracic and shoulder blade actually unlocks that external internal rotation. The second thing that we also see a lot of is this ability to quote unquote stabilize. So stability is just being able to like resist force at a joint. So if I apply force at a joint, I have to be able to maintain integrity of that joint so that I don't lose integrity. The body is very smart. The body knows how to not get injured. It will actually limit our ability to move if we can't resist force there, right? This is why it's important to look at yourself or get someone to look at you when we're lifting weight, because as we add weight, we increase force. If the body can't resist that force, we're going to run into issues. Cool? So that leads on to our third point, which we mainly see and where we can look at this like routine for shoulder health, particularly around workouts, either every day or in workouts, is our ability to stabilize or resist force. So actually putting the shoulder into positions that it gets loaded in a safe manner and we slowly build up the stability aspect. This, from a nervous system point of view, will actually allow better integrity of the shoulder joint, which will allow us to get into better positions. So they're the sort of three things. So where I would be looking at something like changing into integration, it would be looking at, okay, cool, where do I fall down from thoracic or spine, shoulder blade or stability? Putting that into a warm-up. So for example, doing some thoracic stuff in a warm-up, doing some shoulder blade stuff and some stability stuff. And then when we integrate that into the workout, making sure when we're doing things like, let's use a row, for example, this is where we talk about integration. If we're doing a row, we want like full shoulder blade upward rotation and full shoulder blade downward rotation, or protraction, retraction, forward, back, up, down. Let's many words we can use to describe it. So essentially, if we're here, I want to be going forward and I want to be going all the way back for a row example. That's a simple way that we can integrate into the workout. All right. Awesome. So that's an overview of shoulder function and how we can actually build a routine, or what a framework of routine would look like. If this has helped you, drop a comment. Let us know what you got out of it. I'll be making more of these, so appreciate any of the support. So subscribe if you want to know more about it. If not, move on, it's all good. But yeah, appreciate the support. We'll chat soon.